Hello, welcome back to another video on frequency distributions. In this video, we're going to be talking about the median. We're going to find the median of this frequency distribution, but when the frequency is even. There is another video when the frequency is odd, and there is a slight difference between the two. And so if you count up your frequency here, if it is odd, go watch that video. I assume since you're still watching, your frequency is even, so let's see what to do. So if you did watch the previous video, we had 3 steps, very similar steps, so let's get started. Okay, our first step, what you're going to do is you're going to take your frequency, which we haven't done yet, so I'm just going to call it n for right now, and then you're going to divide it by 2. So let's go ahead and find our frequency. When you add up this column, you're going to get 154, which is even. Alright, so we're going to take the number of, what is this, our total spent on textbooks. So I guess I went around and I asked people how much they spent in textbooks. These were the 6 different values I got, and so I added them all up. Alright, so we're going to divide by 2, and we're going to get 77. Now if you watch the video when n is odd, which you probably should because that video goes into a more explanation of like why we're doing what we're doing. So if you're not following along with this, please go watch that video. Now when n is odd, we would be doing some rounding. We're not doing any rounding. We actually go right to our last step, which is that the median is the mean of the 77th and 78th number. So what we have to do now is we have to find the 77th number and the 78th, and then just find the mean between the two. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to create a cumulative column here. So I did do this in the video with the odd, when the frequency is odd, so you can go ahead and watch that. Anyways, the way that this works is that there are 28 people who had 450 spent on their textbooks. So if I were to put them all in line, we would have the 1st through the 28th. They would have 450. Okay, they would have spent $450. So then we move on to the next one. The 29th, that person is going to spend $525 on their textbooks, all the way to what? Well, the 29th person spends $525, and we're going to do that. We're going to add on 44 more people. In other words, what we're going to do is we're going to take 28 plus 45. And if we do 28 plus 45, we're going to have that person is going to be the last person in this group. And that equals, or if you add 28 and 45, that will be the 73rd person. And that person spent $525 on their books. So again, one more time. All right, in this first group, okay, you're going to account for the 1st through the 28th person. In this one, you're going to account for the 29th. There we go, 29th to the 73rd person. And you do that by just adding these two up. All right, so that would mean in this group down here, you would have the 74th through, all right, well, you're going to take now these 3 numbers and add them together. So that last person is going to have $575. So let's add these 3 numbers together, and we're going to get 85. Okay. And this group spent, and I'll just put that as $575. All right, so my next group, they're going to be the 86th through, and then add these 4 together to 123rd, and that group spent $598. Okay, and hopefully you can kind of see how this is working. So we're going to go on to the next one. That's going to be the 124th through, and then you would add up these 5 numbers, and you get 144. and the 144th person spent $621. We move on to the last one. So that's going to be from 145 to 154. So again, if you were to add all these numbers together, you'd have 154. And so that would make sense because my last person, the 154th person, which is the last one in all of these, is going to have spent $645. Okay, well anyways, our goal was to find the 77th and the 78th. So if you look through here, and if you set it up like this, well, where's the 77th and 78th? It is going to be in here somewhere. Okay, because the 74th to the 85th, they all spent $575. So obviously the 77th and 78th should as well. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to take those two numbers, which is they both spent $575. You're just going to add them together, divide by 2, and that's going to be 500 and 500. I keep doing that. $575. Okay, so let's go ahead and try another example. Okay, in this example, I went around and I asked people what their GPA was for the previous semester. And so I put them all into a nice frequency distribution. And so I have 4 people who have a 2.1, 26 people who have a 2.75, and so on. So, step 1. What we're going to do is we're going to take the frequency and divide it by 2. So add up this column, and you should get 91. So we're going to take, oops, I forgot we were doing even. So, all right, I just added one more person to the 4.0 GPA. So you add this up and you'll get 92. So we're going to take 92 divided by 2, and you get 46. So step 2 says that the median must be the mean between the 46th and the 47th. So let me finish writing that in. Okay, so let's come up here. Let's write out our cumulative column. Now let's get started. So our first through the 4th, okay, they all had a GPA of 2.1. Alright, so that would mean the 5th through, because that would be the 5th person, would be the next person in line. Add up these two right here, and you're going to get 30. So that means the 5th through the 30th have a GPA of 2.75. That means then the 31st through to the 62nd has a GPA of 3.2. Now we can keep going, but remember, we were looking for the 46th and 47th person. And so we know that these two people, okay, are going to have to be in this interval, or I guess region, because they're between the 31st and the 62nd person. So our median, because now we're done, the median is going to be the mean between those two GPAs, which is they're both 3.2 GPAs. So when you take the mean of that, you will again get 3.2. Now just a quick note, what happens if, say we were looking for the 62nd and 63rd person? Well, if we were doing that, well then the 62nd would be 3.2 and the 63rd would have been a 3.5. And so the median would have been the mean between those two. So just again, look for the two GPAs or the two people, two scores, and then just average those together using the mean.